Welcome traders to this video analysis which focuses on basically the dollar retracement. How far and how long will it last? That is something that we will focus on today. As always, on the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar yen, and AUD USD. Before we actually take a look at the charts and technical analysis though, this disclaimer informing that this video analysis may not be suitable for everyone. This is intended for a global audience. To find out if it is intended for you, go to admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity. Also, please be aware that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and it may not be suitable for all investors and traders. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. And this video analysis is for educational and informational purposes only. Thank you for your attention. As always, of course, we have our webinars this week, live and free of charge, and that remains this week the same, with the weekly FX recap on Monday, today, Wednesday, expert advice on Heikinashi, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we have Trading Lab and Forex Strategy in the morning, and we look at live price action. Thursday we have Capturing the Trend via Trend Lines. This is the euro-dollar weekly chart, and we start off, of course, with the biggest major here. And surprisingly, for the first time in a long time, I'm talking about a 13-week run downwards with bearish candles. Last week ended up bullish after really a decent down run. So, of course, those things can happen. The 2 weeks candle showed actually was a bearish candle, and that was actually after the NFP news event that was bearish for this euro dollar. Then, of course, last week we had the FOMC, which was bullish for the euro dollar, and that's why we probably had a pretty decent sized candle to the upside, although we also have a decent sized wick. Now, if we zoom into the daily chart here, we're going to see a bit more upside and struggle for this euro dollar downtrend, and I would therefore not be surprised if we look at this 4-hour zigzag here that we had, and also the bullishness that we've seen so far. It looks like we're going to get a rebound and a recovery of some of that downtrend, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue a bit further, for instance, to what I would consider the fib here at the moment. This is the wave 3 fib, and I would not be surprised if wave 4 could go up to the 38.2 fib. Something like a zigzag, for instance, here, where we bounce up to the 38.2 fib. We already stopped at the 23.6 fib, which is a sign usually that this fib is being respected. And if we then put a counter trend fib on this swing to the upside, we see that the minus 618 target of that counter trend fib is equal to the 38.2 fib of the wave 4 retracement fib, both at around 129.60ish, 129.70. So as long as price stays, I would say roughly below 130, because here's a top as well, right at 129.96. So roughly below 130, I would say price is still in bearish long-term mode, but in the short term, we could see a recovery to that 130, and then I would expect a big retracement, or continuation, I should say, of the downtrend for the euro dollar. So that is what I'm expecting, this green zigzag and then a red arrow for downtrend continuation. The upside could not be maybe as fast as the arrow shows. It could be a slower grind up as price just stalls, and then finally with some exhaustion maybe reaches the resistance level. Okay, let's move on. This is the pound dollar cable daily chart, and you can see here, of course, the same downtrend as the euro dollar, although started later, and most recently here a very strong continuation, in fact, but here too yet another bounce. So that too could happen on the pound dollar, just like the euro dollar. And if you put a fib on this very last swing high, swing low, price stopped at the 50 fib. So if it does make a similar zigzag as the euro, the next fib will be the 61.8 at 163.08. which is equal to the minus 272 target in magenta of the first swing and retracement basic or reversal of Fibonacci here. So the minus 272 and the 61.8, nicely confluence here. That would be the target of the retracement upside. Now, what happens if price does not move up to that target and starts to indeed actually continue with the downtrend. Then I want to keep an eye on, for instance, this trend line, and also, of course, the bigger bottoms here. If those start to break, then we could be back in that downtrend, right? Because of course that daily chart is certainly showing the downtrend. One of the reasons I expect, though, maybe a bit bigger upside retracement is also the fact that price broke through a trend line like this and respected the 78.6 fib here. So that's why I expect that price could get up to the 61.8 and minus 272 target. And if you look at the weekly chart, which now is a mess because of all these fibs, but here too we see a bullish candle. So I think that we have that potential to get up to that high, but if we don't and we break the bottom, of course, in trend line, support trend line, then obviously things are different. Next on the list is the AUD USD. Here too we see price actually stalling a bit at this blue line, and the blue line is basically a big monthly bottom dating back to January 2014. And if you then zoom into the daily and the 4-hour chart, you can see the struggle that price is having indeed, with a triple bottom almost here actually at the blue line. Here to left, first one, green dot, green dot, green dot, right there, those three. And a 4-hour pin bar most recently, in fact. So here again, the dollar struggling with the Australian dollar as well, and maybe some retracement. This could be kind of like an expanding wedge, maybe like this. So maybe retracement up to the top of that trend line or a deep fib is something that would not surprise me. I'm keeping an eye on these resistance levels as price moves up. Last but not least, the dollar yen is basically confirming the same dollar analysis we've had on the other three pairs. In fact, dollar weakening against the yen as well, but approaching a 38.2. So across the board, like the pound and euro, it's going to be very interesting to see how price will respect basically the support for the dollar or not. The euro dollar 2 identically moving down, up to the 38.2, and the dollar yen down to the 38.2 fib. So how is price going to respond to 107 or the 106.80? That remains the question for this week. The dollar yen certainly closer to the 38.2 fib than the euro dollar. So in that regard, maybe even the dollar yen could fall lower to, for instance, the 50 fib. And that, of course, could be bouncing spots here for the dollar yen. So short-term down pressure, but for the moment, the long-term trend still seems to be up. Thank you for joining this video analysis. Don't forget to join these webinars in the upcoming week. And as always, I thank you for joining us and wish you all a great week, great trading, and see you all soon. Cheers.